Today I'm going to be learning more about something that's very important to Dutch culture, and that's cycling, and in particular the bicycles themselves. This is why Dutch bikes are better and why you should want one. So I know how important cycling is to Netherlands, how common it is, how many bikes are actually in the country, but I didn't know specifically about Dutch bikes themselves. So interested to learn about this. Tell me what you think about it. Are Dutch bikes better? What are the big Dutch bike manufacturers? What is innovative about them? Let's watch this and we can learn.
This is our Dutch bicycle. It's an Oma-fiets, literally grandma bicycle. There is really nothing special about it, at least here in the Netherlands. But in Canada, the US, or many other countries, this bike would be very unique indeed, and bicycles like this one really surprised me the first time I visited the Netherlands. There's a good reason for this uniqueness. In the Netherlands, bicycles are seen as a tool for everyday transportation, a way to get from point A to point B quickly and efficiently. In most other countries, bicycles are used primarily for sport and exercise.
That's
This
true.
one difference explains nearly everything special about a bike like this.
Yeah, that's true actually. I guess that makes complete sense. There's not many other countries worldwide where this is such an important part of transport, the bicycle. So it makes sense that they would be different. Again, like in the UK, for instance, I think cycling is not as common as it is in the Netherlands. So the bikes you see are more those kind of standard ones with the bar across, the horizontal bar across. And it's, again, yeah, more for sports, more for hobby and that sort of thing as well. So interested to see the differences.
Now, it's not like this is the only kind of bicycle you'll see in the Netherlands, of course. There are many others, including e-bikes, cargo bikes, hand cycles, and you'll definitely see road bikes used for sport too, especially on weekends. But for everyday urban transportation, this style of bicycle is by far the most common. So what makes this bicycle so different from what you might be used to? Well, the primary difference is that this is an upright bicycle. It's built to ride in an upright sitting position. This is an inefficient position that will not transmit maximum power into the crank during a pedal stroke, plus it's totally not aero. But who cares? What the upright position does provide is comfort. The handlebars on this bicycle are high up and swept back, making it extremely comfortable to ride. On this kind of bicycle, you almost pull up and back on the handlebars rather than putting any weight on them. This is just a more comfortable way to sit on a bicycle, and the design is very similar to the original safety bicycle developed in the UK in the late 19th century. Sitting upright also makes it easier to see what's going on around you, which can be safer when cycling in busy urban environments with lots of other people around. Riding this way lets you wear any type of clothing you'd like because it's no different than sitting in a chair, which is why you see most people in the Netherlands dressed for the destination and not the ride.
Yeah, that as well. Yeah, I never considered that as how people actually dress. I guess in countries where it's not as common to cycle for transport, people will usually wear different outfits and then change when they get to work. They'll be dressed more sporty and that sort of thing as well, maybe like their gym gear. So that's an interesting observation I hadn't thought about. Tell me, if you're from Netherlands, what type of bike do you have? Is it this type of bike? Is it the other more sporting type of bike? Is there a big noticeable change in the comfort level between those types of bikes for you?
This bicycle has a step-through frame, meaning that you can get on and off it very easily
That's the
without
most
having to swing
noticeable
your leg
thing, I think.
around like you do on a bike like this, with a crossbar. These frames are fine and you'll definitely see them here, but I find them particularly annoying if you have a kid seat because if you swing your leg up to get on, you kick your kid in the head.
That's true.
And I don't understand why we still call these men's bikes when it's the only kind you can hit your nuts on. Because step-through frames are more comfortable to use, they're increasingly popular for both men and women. This is another thing that contributes to people wearing normal clothes when cycling, and why you'll even see women wearing dresses and skirts. Speaking of skirts, this thing is called a skirt guard or coat guard, and it's quite common on Dutch bicycles. It prevents long articles of clothing from getting stuck in the spokes as you ride. It also helps prevent a child sitting on the back from getting their foot stuck.
It's like such a simple piece of engineering, but actually has like many benefits. And again, I noticed it. I didn't really think too hard about it. I guess it could also maybe stop like mud or dirt from splashing up. I don't know if that's a possibility as well, but especially for the child getting their foot trapped in there, it's actually quite a big safety benefit as well.
Another thing to protect your clothing is the chain guard, a plastic or metal cover over the bicycle chain. It also helps to protect the chain from the elements, making it last longer.
True, that just
This
makes
thing
sense.
here is
Really?
called a frame lock, and almost every bicycle in the Netherlands has one. These are incredibly convenient for so many reasons, but I've almost never seen them outside of the Netherlands,
Yeah.
Denmark, and Japan.
I've never seen one.
They are an easy way to lock the back wheel of your bicycle for quick stops, which makes it really, really easy to pop into a shop when riding somewhere.
So is that just always on the bike and then you just tighten it when you're going to lock it? Again, like things like this is what I've only seen really is these chains. But that one, yeah, again, is much more efficient.
The frame lock also keeps your key inside as you ride. You can actually buy frame locks that don't do this, but I really like the key retaining feature.
Just quicker.
This is a
as
small
well.
detail, but it ensures that your bike keys are always with you. That being said, I have been known to accidentally hit the key with my leg and bend it like this. Oops. Also,
tell me if
while
you've
there's a
ever
lot
did
of
that.
space for the locking mechanism in the wheel, I seem to hit the spoke far more often than you'd think. I should have gone into neutrino research. When this lock is engaged, you can't ride the bicycle, but you can, of course, just pick it up and walk away with it. So if you want to ensure that your bike is still there when you return, it's best to bring a chain lock with you as well, and most people do.
Is like bike theft, is that a common issue because there is so many bikes, or is it just a bit more like people just don't do that sort of thing in the Netherlands? Have you ever had your bike stolen, for instance? But again, looking at the bigger issue or bigger thing with regards to the Netherlands as a country, I'm just so impressed by how much amazing engineering and innovation there is. Even a thing like the bike has so many little differences, but it all just makes it, like it says, a better bike. I don't know why this wouldn't be more commonly used. I guess, again, like they say, because it's not used for transport in many other countries. But
If you
it's
see
great.
bikes locked only like this, it's probably because the owner considers their bike too crappy to steal. A slight variation on this is a frame lock with a chain lock integrated, giving you two locks with one key.
Whoa, very clever.
Interestingly, U-locks, by far the most common locks in North America, are not seen very often in the Netherlands.
Is it 'cause
Probably
they're heavy
because
and
it's
bulky?
difficult to get close enough to something to lock to with so many other bicycles around. Another feature you'll see on almost every bicycle in the Netherlands is both front and rear fenders. This makes sense in a country where it rains all the time. Fenders are not considered an optional add-on here. What's also included is a kickstand. Almost every bike comes with one. Over the fender, you'll usually find a rear rack, though some bikes have a rack on the front. Ultimately, these bicycles are meant to be useful, so having panniers at the back or a box on the front allows people to carry a surprisingly large amount of stuff. No SUV required. Rear racks in the Netherlands are also built strong enough to carry another person, which you see quite regularly. But then everything on a Dutch bicycle is heavy duty. These aren't aluminium or carbon fiber frames, they're made of solid steel. These bikes are not built for speed, they're built to last. In general, Dutch bicycles are built to be low maintenance. So when a bicycle has gears, they're often internal hub gears like this one. In-hub gearing is great because they almost never need maintenance. This is very different from derailleurs, which I find are constantly going out of alignment.
Again, there's so many things here on this, but it's not just about the practicality, it's about giving very good quality. I feel like in some other countries, you could say like the US, for example, where they're all about profit, I feel like they would be cutting a lot of corners here, not including a lot of these things just to save costs. But these things are really so multi-use, like perfect modes of transport for the Netherlands, how they can carry people, carry other things as well. But the fact that they focus so much on quality and allowing them to be long long lasting. I think that's just a brilliant thing.
Of course, many bicycles, including this one of ours, don't have any gears at all. You might also notice that this particular bike doesn't have any handbrakes either. A lot of bikes here do have handbrakes, but this one uses coaster brakes that you engage by cycling backwards. This was fascinating to me because in Canada, you will never see brakes like this except on children's bikes. They take some getting used to, but I really prefer cycling like this, as it feels so natural to pedal forward to speed up and pedal backwards to brake. By not having any handbrakes or gears, it keeps the bike simple and maintenance-free. It also avoids any cables that might accidentally get stuck on other bicycles when parking in tight places.
That makes sense.
All of this is done to keep the bicycle in good working condition, which is important when it's your primary mode of transportation. The only problem we've ever had with this bicycle is the occasional flat tire. And speaking of tires, did you know they use a different tire valve here? In the US and Canada, there are only ever 2 tire valves, Presta, found on road bikes, and Schrader, found on everything else. Here in the Netherlands, they use a Blitz valve. These valves have a little ball that prevents air from getting out. They're really easy to work with. In case you're curious, you can just use a regular Presta pump to fill these. Just pump it up to a high enough pressure and the valve will open automatically. Another thing you'll sometimes see on bicycles here is a dynamo. These go in the wheel hub or on the wheel and generate enough electricity to power LED lights.
Nice.
These are pretty nice, as you never need to worry about recharging batteries or forgetting your lights. Just another small thing that makes these bicycles simple for everyday use. And lastly, the bell on this bike makes a pleasant sound.
Oh.
Though you hardly
Never
ever
even
need to
heard
use a
that
bell
before.
here, so it doesn't really matter.
Is that a normal one?
When we were still living in Canada, we knew about upright Dutch-style bikes and tried for years to buy one, but they were almost impossible to find. This photo sums up the situation in Canada. A selection of bicycles supposedly for commuting with nothing but sporty hybrids and road bikes.
I think
They
it's the
don't
same in
even
the
come with
UK
a
as well.
rack, fenders, or kickstand. Maybe there are more bike shops with upright bicycles today, but when we lived in Toronto, there was only one shop that sold them, and the next closest was over 50 kilometers away. Here in Amsterdam, I can't swing a pair of clogs without hitting a dozen bicycle shops that sell functional, practical bicycles. Bicycles that are designed for transportation, not sport. One group, in Winnipeg, Canada, got so frustrated trying to find practical urban bicycles that they started importing new and used bicycles from the Netherlands. They call themselves the Plain Bicycle Project, and they're regularly receiving shipping containers full of bicycles from the Netherlands. So to my Dutch viewers, when you're finished with your bike, please consider donating it to needy families in Canada. It's so great
an
to have
interesting
bicycles that aren't for sport. Bicycles whose primary function is to be there when you need it, to carry your shopping or your friend, and to be used with as little effort as possible. No special gear or costume changes required. This is a point that's often overlooked because while it's obviously important to have safe streets and cycling infrastructure, it also makes a difference to have easy access to practical, low-maintenance bicycles like this one. Living in Amsterdam, I know that when I need to go somewhere, taking a bicycle will usually be the fastest and most convenient way to get there. But it's also important to know that I won't have any problems either, because of our old, clunky, rusty, beat-up, comfortable, reliable Omafeets.
That's awesome.
I'd like to thank my supporters on Patreon.
That's super cool, man. I really like that a lot. Again, tell me how much one of them cost to start, actually. It'd be interesting to know that, and what's the price variance between different models of that one. Again, like, that has got everything you need for being a good commuter bicycle. Again, long lasting, all these innovations that just make it like a perfect bike is awesome. Again, I've seen bicycles like that, but I've never really considered all the different things that go into it, all these different pieces of engineering. But that's something I enjoy. I like seeing well engineered products that has a lot of uses, and that definitely does. So really cool. Tell me if you own one of them. If not, why not? What kind of bike do you have? Is there any other bikes that have like good innovations? Tell me about them in the comments as well. And yeah, keep recommending more videos similar to this. Thanks.